Hello everyone, Minute Plus Meditation here, Wednesday, October the 4th, the Feast of St. Francis of Assisi. Yeah, basically he was the first to recognize he's the first one to really teach about the holiness of the earth. The earth, of course, is created by God, so it's God's creation, and therefore we should respect it and revere it as we steward it, use it, never for selfish, narcissistic purposes, but for God's honor and glory. Whether that means, taking care of our forests, cut them down, also replant the food that we eat, the animals, and so on. So it's just a thought for us, but to revere God's creation, something we should learn and inherit from St. Francis of Assisi. Okay, from the first reading, Nehemiah chapter 2. So the king said to me, "Why is your face sad, since you are not sick? This can only be sadness of the heart." Then I was very much afraid, because they're not supposed to be sad in the presence of these Gentile kings. "May the king live forever. Why should my face not be sad when the city, the place of my ancestors' graves, lies waste and its gates have been destroyed by fire?" So the king asks him what he would like to do. And Nehemiah says he would like to go back and rebuild the city, and the king gives him permission. So what do I want to reflect on here? The point is that Nehemiah actually had a sadness in his heart that was motivated. He wasn't depressed, but there was a sadness there because the supernatural reality of the holy city had basically left people's hearts. So it was destroyed precisely because of the people's sins. But Nehemiah wants to be, in effect, what we would say an agent of change, a positive force. He wants to do God's will and help to do something to rebuild the city, to revive the faith. It's not just a physical structure, although it does include that, but it's the faith of the people who have fallen away from the Lord. And as a result of this, there are temporal consequences, and the temporal consequences are the destruction of the city. There are consequences to our decisions, right? And this is happening even in our own society. When we reject God, tell him to, get out, unfortunately, he listens to us. He actually pays attention to our stupidity. And as a result, the family is fraying at the edges. We're being attacked. The family is being attacked in all sorts of ways. The institution of marriage is being attacked. Even the gender ideology, attacks the good of the human person. The fact that there can only be one male, one female, or a male and a female gender. And it goes on and on and on. The whole fentanyl crisis in the U.S., the lack of borders, the need for a country to be a country, and so on. Laws need to be kept and respected. So this is what happens when we lose a sense of God, and our children are not taught the commandments. So you and I should cultivate this as well, because things are not going well. And yes, there are many blessings in our society, but there's also many problems as well. And it needs people like you and me who are alert to these things to repent and to try and be like Nehemiah, an agent of change in a good way, not condemning, although we need to call out, but to do something in our own personal circumstances that can effect good, positive outcomes, to do something for the good, to rebuild our city in our own little way. Okay, over to the gospel. It's from St. Luke chapter 9. As Jesus and his disciples were going along the road, someone said to him, "I will go wherever you go." So then he gives them these statements: "Foxes have holes and birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head." So obviously this would have been understood by the people of Jesus' day, and it can only be understood by our day if we do a little digging. So essentially what Jesus is saying is, don't count the cost if you're going to follow me. Don't give me 90%, 95%. You got to give me 100%. If you're really going to follow me, you got to be all in. And what does that mean in our personal circumstances? Well, this is very rich for meditation and also resolution material. Okay, so what it means is, if we're going to follow Jesus, you need to be prepared to be all in, not 90%, 95%, because that just won't work, because sin can creep in and you're giving it permission. Sin may still creep in, but don't give her permission. It may creep in because of your weakness, but not because of your deliberate permission, or because you have refused, or I have refused, to let Jesus have the entire house of our heart. So be resolved, if you're going to follow Jesus, to be on mission with him. Follow him. So from the, devise a plan for the day. Start your day listening to Jesus at his feet in prayer. Then to breakfast and so on, go on with your day. Then stop and listen to Jesus, whether it's the Bible, perhaps an MP3 version of the Bible throughout the day, or the physical copy of the Bible. And then at night, be with Our Lady with the decade of the Rosary or the 5 decades of the Rosary. This is how we follow Jesus. There's no rocket science to it, but we have to connect the dots and realize this is how I'm on mission with Jesus. This is how I let Jesus into my life. This is how I let him take control of my heart, be in the driver's seat of my life. Even before I sit down to watch TV, praying that it be something that gives him honor and glory, that if he were physically sitting beside me, he would not be ashamed of me. He would not be embarrassed. He would not have to call me out, turn that stupid thing off. But it would be at least innocuous, right? He would say, like, really? But it wouldn't be anything wrong, all right? It would just be something that we could use to relax, legitimately relax. So follow Jesus, and don't put any barriers on him. God bless you.